Your phone already knows your next purchase because it has been studying your habits for years. Building a model of you so precise, it can predict your desires before your brain consciously forms them. If you think the explanation is a secret microphone recording your conversations and feeding them to advertisers, you are incorrect. That theory fits the eerie feeling perfectly, but falls apart under scrutiny. They have no need for a microphone when the mathematics are this precise, and what replaces it is far more disturbing. Cybersecurity researchers have tested the microphone idea repeatedly, including a controlled experiment by Bitdefender in 2025, where they deliberately spoke specific product names aloud near phones without ever searching for them, then monitored every packet of data leaving those devices. Ads for those products never came, leaving the recording theory dead in the lab. Mark Zuckerberg testified directly to Congress denying that Meta uses microphone audio for ad targeting, and Google's advertising policies strictly prohibit the practice. Apple's architecture makes ambient audio collection technically difficult to execute. These are not merely polished corporate responses, as the network traffic data fully supports them. Voice assistants are the one real exception, though it remains a narrow one. Saying the activation word wakes up your device to process your voice, and saying nothing halts the processing entirely. Your assistant listens for a trigger rather than a broadcast. The moment you avoid triggering it, nothing gets uploaded anywhere. This means that espresso maker advertisement you received after talking to a friend about caffeine did not result from your phone hearing that conversation. Your device never heard a single word of it, yet the advertisement still appeared through alternative tracking methods. This brings the actual system into view, which operates entirely outside the awareness of most users. Your phone tracks thousands of daily data points, feeding them into predictive algorithms that detect patterns no human analyst could catch manually. GPS coordinates register automatically and update throughout the day without you asking. App sequences are logged each morning to map your routine, while pausing on a video of kitchen appliances for 11 seconds is enough to flag a latent desire in progress. Sensors measure how fast you walk, correlating pace changes with stress levels and activity spikes. Every search query, every finished article, and every abandoned product page gets absorbed into the model. The system avoids listening to your voice and instead watches everything else about you simultaneously without blinking. The invisible profile grows by hundreds of data points every single day. Predictive artificial intelligence serves as the engine underneath all of this. These algorithms observe your past choices and actively model your future ones. They consume large streams of digital exhaust and surface correlations that feel highly unusual. That Sunday night flight search was completely calculated based on your prior activity. Looking for a warm destination at 9 p.m. makes you statistically similar to a demographic of people who also tend to browse sunscreen, book hotels midweek, and click on restaurant advertisements, all before consciously deciding to book a trip. The algorithm spots that distinct signature and starts serving you content matching the next step in that pattern before you take it. It operates faster at reading your habits than you are at recognizing them. Returning to that appliance conversation, the microphone never caught a single syllable. GPS data instead logged that your device sat within 3 feet of your friend's device for 90 minutes. Algorithms already carry their profile, showing 22 minutes of espresso maker browsing the previous evening. Social graph prediction logic runs the calculation that two people in close physical proximity for that long most likely shared thoughts. Since one person holds an active interest, the system extends that interest to the other person. The targeted feed updates silently without your words, your voice, or your consent. This process is called proximity-based inference, running non-stop between your device and every other device in every space you enter. Sitting in a medical waiting room absorbs context from surrounding phones, and walking through a car dealership parking lot registers as a possible purchase signal. Every location your body occupies becomes a data event. The algorithm pools those signals into a profile that grows richer each time you step outside your front door. The entities profiting from this digital shadow operate in the data brokerage industry, which most users have never encountered. These brokers collect your digital footprints from dozens of sources simultaneously. App developers sell them your activity logs, and loyalty card programs hand over your purchase history. Public records feed demographics into their databases. They cross-reference everything to build what researchers call your digital shadow, which functions as a hidden dossier of your habits, preferences, and forecasted future choices, compiled compiled entirely without your direct knowledge. This digital shadow goes far beyond a basic list of your recent purchases. Health interest scores are built from every medical article you have read, and a financial stress indicator is inferred from your browsing patterns around debt pages or loan applications. Relationship status shifts trigger alerts because location data reveals when two devices stop sharing the same address overnight. A 2023 investigative report found that certain brokers were actively selling life event prediction scores, rating the statistical probability that a specific user was about to get divorced, have a child, or change careers. This happens entirely without those users informing anyone. The shadow calculates details about your near future that you have not even decided yet. Harvard professor Shoshana Zuboff put a formal name to this entire operation in her 2019 book on surveillance capitalism. Her argument is that tech companies do not collect your information as a byproduct of their services, because the data collection is the primary service. You receive the application free of charge, making your psychological history the actual payment. Every click, every pause, and every scroll acts as a currency exchange you never consciously agreed to make. She called it a behavioral futures market where advertisers purchase predictions of your choices before you make them. That framing has held firm since the book released, and the machine described in those pages has only expanded. Zero-party data adds another layer that most people never consider. This is information you hand over completely willingly and almost always without grasping the stakes. Those personality quizzes that flood your social media feed, the character filters, and the polls asking your opinions on random topics all function as surveillance events dressed in entertainment clothing. You type out your personality traits, your emotional responses, and your preferences for hypothetical scenarios, feeding all of it directly back into your algorithmic profile. The extraction does not always look hostile, sometimes appearing like a simple quiz your best friend shared and you filled out in 3 minutes. This exact dynamic makes the system extremely hard to resist. It feels highly personal rather than hostile, mimicking a device that genuinely understands you. The algorithm rewards itself every time you click an advertisement, buy a recommended item, or spend an extra 30 minutes scrolling because the feed kept showing precisely what held your attention. Helpfulness and extraction come packaged together so tightly that pulling them apart demands a level of intentional effort most people simply fail to apply. The psychology behind why this feels like mind reading relies on what cognitive scientists call illusory correlation, where two unrelated events feel causally linked because of their timing. You talked about espresso machines with a friend and an advertisement arrived within hours. Your brain immediately builds a narrative connecting those two moments, even when zero causal connection exists. Tech companies have no need to spy on your voice to make you feel surveilled, as their raw accuracy generates that exact sensation. If you feel unsettled by this, that engineered discomfort forces you to think about your phone and drags your attention right back to the screen. Your unease operates as an intentional mechanism within the system rather than an accidental side effect. Attempting to escape this is harder than simply switching off location services. Researchers who attempted to live without phone tracking discovered that applications can infer location from local wireless signals, hardware pings, and atmospheric pressure sensors your phone uses to detect elevation changes. A 2023 study from researchers at the University of Edinburgh showed that accelerometer data alone could predict a user's location within 100 meters without the location systems ever activating. Camera permissions are visible in settings and easy to revoke, whereas the accelerometer runs continuously with no prompt required. The sensors you ignore entirely are often the ones collecting the most data. Taking action against this starts with the simplest audit of opening your phone settings and examining every application holding location access. Your flashlight application does not need your coordinates, and your recipe application does not need to know where you sleep. Revoke permissions that serve no logical purpose for that tool's core function. The exposure shrinks immediately when you do this consistently. After that, switch to browsers built to block tracking scripts such as Brave and Firefox, which handle this without requiring any technical setup from you. Start treating every single sign-in button, loyalty program sign-up, and shared quiz as a transaction. Small habits like these compound into a vastly different digital footprint over time. Privacy did not vanish overnight. It eroded slowly through one permission accepted, one cookie banner dismissed, and one quiz answered for entertainment. The design of these systems was entirely deliberate, built to extract maximum data as quietly as possible, while wrapped in services that actually make daily life more convenient. The targeted advertisement felt eerie because the technology producing it is extraordinarily capable. But high capability and responsible use of that capability are two entirely different conversations, and the gap between them is exactly where your personal life currently resides. The 2019 book highlighted how the goal of surveillance capitalism is to predict and modify human behavior as a means to producing revenue and market control. The algorithm goes beyond predicting and actively attempts to modify your behavior. It wants to know what you will buy next so it can nudge you toward buying it sooner, more often, and at a higher price. That operates as active psychological shaping at a scale no previous technology ever reached, running quietly inside the device you carry in your pocket every single hour of your waking life. Your device knows your desires before you do because it actively helped build them. It does not control all of your desires, but it influences more than most people feel comfortable acknowledging. The next time an advertisement reads your mind with that uncanny accuracy, assume someone was watching you rather than listening to you. They watch more patiently, quietly, and precisely than any microphone ever could. The tracking system never announces itself or shows up as a notification. It just keeps learning your patterns, sharpening its model of you, and getting more accurate at the one task it was designed to perform without your awareness, which is turning your actions into someone else's income. You are not the user of these platforms, as you are actually the product. The defining trait of this system is that the product never gets to read its own label.